Good afternoon. I broke out my watercolor inks for this. So I don't really have a plan, just kind of mixing colors and seeing what I get. I think I'm going to add a little greenery and then maybe a few buds, and then I'll be done with this one. And then I'll show you what else I've been painting with these inks. Can't get over that color mix, it's really pretty. Right, that pink is gorgeous. It's mostly quinacridone magenta, straight from the bottle, with a tiny touch of ultramarine deep. Thanks, Carly. Well, I think I paint my florals really fast, so if you don't catch it from the beginning, you don't really get to watch them unfold. But I do paint pretty much every day, so we'll see. You can see the blue, right? That little separation right in there. It's gorgeous. I want to paint this on my handmade paper. This is just my practice paper. It's not the greatest quality. I think I'm going to add a little bud in here. So I'm going to use my petals brush for this because I want it a little bit more delicate. Maybe a few more bits of greenery. I'm going to mix up that same blue so that I have more of it. Mostly ultramarine deep, a tiny bit of quinacridone magenta, and then a drop of lemon yellow. Which I could just watch that happen and I'd be happy. So Carly, do you also paint with watercolors? Just beginning to learn. I'm in my 3rd year of painting with watercolors. I absolutely love it. It's usually the thing that I do after work to kind of decompress. I'm a chemistry teacher by day. I've been sharing my live paintings here on TikTok for a few months now. You hosted a watercolor paint party for your friends and have been trying to practice ever since. Yeah, I think one of the first things I did was I did a little Skype call with a friend of mine, and we painted together, and it was really nice. Valerie, what did you do to learn watercolor techniques when first starting out? I watched a bunch of YouTube videos, just watching and practicing what other artists were doing. And then whatever worked for me, I kept doing. I actually haven't pulled out my watercolor inks in a really long time. But there's a challenge going on from Aloha Watercolors for October, and it's this primary color limited color palette challenge. So there's that sort of lemon yellow color, that magenta color, an ultramarine blue, a brown, and a gold. And I have a lot of watercolors, but this watercolor ink is the only real lemon yellow that I have. I have a little bit of this handmade color called Lemonade that's close, but I don't have a lot of it. And this is that bright magenta. I don't really have that in any other form either. So this particular watercolor challenge is to paint once a week a different landmark in a different country, and week 1 is Germany. And my mom's ancestors are from the Black Forest, so I use those same colors that you see to paint this. I haven't painted landscapes in a while, and it is a very loose forest here, but I really enjoyed it. I did add black to my color palette. You can add white and black if you'd like, and I just really like it on this handmade paper. So this is week 1. Week 2 is going to be a landmark in Australia. So I'm excited to come up with an idea for that. I feel like a lot of people are going to do the Sydney Opera House, but there's a lot of options. Do you try to create real flowers or whatever you choose to create? I'd say a bit of both. So this super loose style flower here, that's sort of an imaginary flower. I do a lot of that. I do take inspiration from real flowers. So this is sort of the idea of an anemone with that dark center and then super loose frilly flower petals around it. The colors of a ranunculus and sort of the jam-packed petals that it's got, but then also incorporating just sort of fantasy flowers. So this stalk-like flower could be a lilac or larkspur. So there's just lots of loose interpretations when it comes to loose watercolors. So this was honeysuckle. I saw a very colorful one that I really wanted to try. And then lots of gold details. So that's sort of like a daisy here, but whatever makes me happy. Thank you, Joyce. Yeah, I hope you find it relaxing and inspiring. Orchids here. Yes, that ranunculus scarlet, that's one of my favorite. Very loose florals. That could be anything for this one. But I just enjoyed playing with color for this because it's only 2 colors. So something you can paint in 5 minutes. Sort of a carnation. So a little bit of inspiration from reality here. Thank you, Marianne. Let's see. Pansies again. Real inspiration for that. And then a loose style here. So it's really whatever I'm in the mood for, but always with a loose style interpretation. And gold and ink when I feel like adding something special to it. So poppy inspired, daisy inspired, and then some fantasy flowers. For this, I think this is still wet, but I might go in and add a little detail with something else, another layer maybe. I really do like how loose it is, so I'm tempted not to add anything, but I just painted it so quickly. Here's one with some ink that I added a few details to the petals with. You could see there's such a difference between the just watercolor alone with some metallic detail and then with the ink. Trying to see if anything else jumps out. So this one, I hope clearly looks like orchids, but I made the petals simple enough so they weren't that intimidating. Same with this. Calla lilies are not my favorite to paint, but lots of people say they're one of their favorite flowers, so very loose style makes it approachable. And I always love painting roses, so this is sort of my classic way to paint roses. What paper? I do use paper, a few different types. So the one that this is on that you're seeing right now, this is Strathmore. My personal favorite is bow hung. That's what this is on. You could see the texture immediately there. This is also bow hung. It is 100% cotton paper. This is not. So that you could see the difference in the quality of the color bleeds here. Very soft transition of colors. Details really look good on that. But this is a little bit more expensive, right? So it comes out about $1 a sheet, and it's kind of small, right? This is hot press paper from Strathmore. This is much cheaper paper. You can see it's a cellulose-based paper, but it's my favorite to practice on because it's a good size, relatively cheap. This and all my other favorite brands are linked in my bio on my Amazon favorites. So this is still drying. I think I'm going to add some details to this. I just have to decide what I want to do. If I'm going to do a darker layer or some metallic details. I think I'm going to just do a darker layer on top of this. So I'll still use my watercolor inks. Let me just grab my Princeton Neptune. So something a little bit more manageable for my next size petal. This is also my first time using my watercolor inks on my palette. I usually just drop them onto the paper. Let's see, a tiny bit of blue. Thanks, Drawing Becca. So you can see how staining this ink is. Really, not moving too quickly, and it's going to give me some sharp edges there. I really like that, though. I think I'm going to sneak in another petal right here. It really gives it a layered look that I like. Yeah, I really like that. And this one is too wet for me to layer on it. Ooh, hydrangeas. I know I have a painting of hydrangeas somewhere. If you do want to watch someone paint hydrangeas in a nice loose way, if that'll help you in any way, Sweet Season Art has a great tutorial on how she paints hers, and I find it very well explained and beautiful. So she's on YouTube, also on Instagram, but that's where her tutorial was. Should I paint another set of florals since that was so fast? Maybe on that nice paper. Well, Carly and Nature Hippie vote yes, so okay. Let me just finish my little play around right here. This has to dry anyway. Thank you, Roxy. All right, more flowers. I can just put this to the side. Let that dry over there. And I have my paper right here. Okay, so similar to that last one, I'll do some very light wash with my pointed oval, and then grab in some color. Let me kind of refill my palette. I tapped a tiny bit of that here. And a little blue. And then I should probably mix my green again. That way I'm ready. I normally don't do all this mixing before painting, but watercolor inks are just their own kind of animal, right? So a touch of magenta and then a dot of lemon yellow to make this pretty green. Okay. I would probably refill my water jar, but we're just going to paint some more. Let's see, this time I'm gonna have my orange one take center stage here. It's a beautiful bleed. And then a little bit more of a sunset color here. Right. I also love watching watercolor do its thing, but watercolor ink is just some sort of extra magical thing. Look at that. That's incredible. Well, I'm sorry, that's my voice. I'm not in a room with other people, so you can mute me if you'd like, or find someone else that plays music. I just don't paint with music either. Mark, it's mostly just getting comfortable with making brushstrokes, so you have an idea of what's wet and what's not, and then letting the paint flow through it. Thank you, Sophie. I think I'm going to add a little bit of blue here to let that bleed. I could be a little bit more intentional about where this goes, but I'm just going to let that go. I can always add another layer if I don't like it. I do want to do another yellow one somewhere, maybe up here. Yes, this brush stays very wet. It's very damp the whole way through. For me, that's great because I don't have to keep going back and re-wetting it. So I could just kind of keep going. This paper also holds water very well. I think I'm going to start playing around with my green. Adding some stems. really love that ombre effect there. It came out really nice. As for my bud, I'll add a little yellow and a little orange, sort of a mini one of these. And I'm not going to start with water at this moment because it's going to be small. There we go. Something like that. Just like that. Actually both, so it's mostly at home. My classroom, I have some in my office. It's actually mostly my students' watercolor at the moment because I have a watercolor club there. And we have our next session on Friday, so sort of incomplete paintings get stored in my office. I've painted a few floral molecules, but I have not put them in the classroom yet. I do have a few mushroom paintings, moths, butterflies, and once in a while in my ecology unit, I'll pull one out, ask them, what type of organism is present, that type of thing. Yeah, I do have a lot of students that are interested in it. Yeah, it's really nice. And plus then they get to see me as someone other than their chemistry teacher. This is similar to the last painting I did over there, but now that I'm looking at it, it's very similar to the last one, but very enjoyable. I think I could paint this every day and be happy. This is actually a really nice way to compare the two papers because I did paint something sort of similar. So I'll let you see the differences in a second here. So really soft bleeds here. It's still a little wet, so you can see the paint's moving around a bit. And then over here, this is dried. I did layer over there, but this is actually still a little wet. But those blooms from the water are more pronounced here. Where it's not such a smooth transition, but I don't mind that. I told you this is not too expensive, and I like that since my watercolor hobby is daily. It's very soft color bleeds here, and I absolutely adore them. I have another painting with just watercolors, not watercolor ink, that I used this paper for. Very minimal, just a few colors here. And again, you can see it has beautiful bleeds. Everything looks beautiful on this paper. Yes, I am thinking about fall. Here's some fall florals. I'm going to be painting something similar to this on Friday. So I painted this guy first here. Really love this particular flower. And the blue, so color palette here is from KMS. Mark, yes, chem teacher, not an art teacher. I've only been doing this art thing for 3 years. Here, an updated bouquet, a little bit more full. I like how delicate these little flowers are here. I'm going to paint something similar to these with a pumpkin as its sort of vase on Friday. That's going to be over on Instagram. So both of these were lives here on TikTok, and if you want to watch me paint this, you can see the whole replay on my YouTube channel, which is in my bio here. That's where this video will be shortly. I think that's going to be it for today. I have one test that I want to review, make a few tweaks. Yes, I do have an Etsy shop. All of the paintings that I make are available, but I only list what people want to buy. So once in a while here, I'll kind of go through my recent paintings, and if anybody wants anything, they can let me know. I have a few paintings for fall that are listed currently, and there's also a box of 4 handmade or hand-painted cards for the holidays. So if there's anything in particular you want me to paint in my loose style, you can always let me know. I do take commissions as well. Yeah, and Mark, I do like that blue. Let me see, I think it's called Blue Pumpkin. It's this one from KMS. It's a really pretty one. Very vibrant, and also mixes very well. So I'll be doing that live on Instagram. Same name if you have Instagram and want to follow me there. I do lives once in a while there. This is where I usually paint. Etsy is also Palacios Paints. I could pull out some more of my paintings that are on my desk right here. Mark, you're so busy, you put too much on the paper. So here's a nice end of summer look right here. Some peonies in a vase. I don't do landscapes too often. I'm mostly a florals girl. This is the same watercolor ink that I was using here, just unmixed. Also watercolor ink with a little bit of gold in the center. Some silver watercolor in addition to some violets. This one, I think I still have to add some ink detail to really make that pop. I should, I know I have such a big pile here, right? I should do it. But again, teacher life, I'm very busy and I haven't gotten around to doing that. Yes, painting flowers makes me very happy. Chrysanthemums here and here. Some dahlias and chrysanthemums and billy buttons. Just some recent fall florals. Painting leaves and stems really took me a long time to master. I'm gonna say I'm still continuing to improve. But that was something I struggled with in the first year of painting. Now they're my favorite thing to add. Here's a little transparent anemone. One of my recent favorites. This one is currently listed on my Etsy shop. This is sneezeweed. Really beautiful fall colors there. One of the few times I inked my florals live on TikTok here. Thank you, Skippy Lou. And this is a very metallic, transparent lily. This was, I think, winter of last year. All right. I think that is going to be it for today. I don't have any meetings after work tomorrow, so I should still be able to be here and paint with you. Wednesday, Thursday, I'll be tutoring, so I won't be here. And then Friday, I'll be live on Instagram. So I'm not going to be here too often this week. I hope to catch you again tomorrow around the same time, 4 p.m. Eastern, and possibly on Tuesday. So I hope you enjoy the rest of your Sunday. It is beautiful over here. The last of the summer days, I think. Thanks so much for joining me, and see you soon.